and let us all do we can to build a better future.
I think it's important we hear from different voices and perspectives. Now, look, we all know about Cenk and his influence over independent media. And, of course, how TYT really rose to prominence during the early 2015 to the 2016 election cycle. Definitely involved a lot of Bernie Sanders support and so much more. And since then, there's been an ongoing theme at TYT since the aftermath of the 2016 general election, to be more specific, and that is Donald Trump. Donald Trump living rent-free in Cenk Uyghur's head. Now, look, again, to be clear here, I'm not a fan of Donald Trump. I'm not a fan of his policies. I'm not a fan of the individual. But the thing is, even I know not to let that guy live rent-free in my head, because at the end of the day, there's a reason why we got Trump. It's because of the neoliberal policies of the failed Democratic Party. Yes, the Democrats. The Democrats fail all the time. And how could we all forget, again, with the neoliberal policies of Barack Obama? In the aftermath of that, we got Donald Trump. And to quote Jimmy Dore, you think people voted for Donald Trump because their lives are great? No. No. And so, through this, Cenk Uyghur is talking about how Trump is a threat, but also he says something very asinine, to which it should upset people like Convo Couch, Nico House, all of us who, matter of fact, it should upset all of us who remember the 2016 Democratic primary. And in fact, we're going to have democracy in the chat. And hey, you know what? I'm going to even throw in the Trump supporters in this one too, because I think we all saw it, because even Donald Trump called it out, not only in 2016, but in 2020, about how DNC was committing election fraud to deny Bernie Sanders the nomination. We all saw it. We all saw during the Democratic primary how there was a lack of paper ballots, lack of working election machines, lack of, polling stations being open, to where Cenk says, well, we can't really prove that there was election fraud that took place during the Democratic primary. Don't believe me? Well, here's the PVD podcast where Cenk Uyghur is talking about his also fantastic book. His fantastic book. His book, Justice is Coming. It's a terrible name. Terrible name here. But anyways, let's go ahead and find out about why Trump is the great dictator of our time. Yeah, that guy, Trump. Here's the thing about Donald Trump before we play this video. I hear a lot of liberals and quote-unquote progressives saying, he's Hitler 2.0. You do realize that we have had former presidents that signed the extermination of Native American nations, right? We've had presidents call forth the genocide of those Native American nations, okay? We've had presidents dismiss working class citizens. We've had presidents, abuse their power. Hell, Andrew Jackson shot people, man. Jesus Christ, that guy. Old Hickory. That guy. Hey, you ticked off Andrew Jackson. He was going to shoot you, okay? Donald Trump says he wishes he could shoot somebody down anywhere in New York Street, in New York City. No, Andrew Jackson had that follow through. Okay? We've had presidents far, far, far worse than Trump. Just throwing it out there. And look, hey, listen, you guys can Google it on your smartphones, on your PCs, on your laptops. Go ahead.
Look, it got personal when he lost the election in 2020 and said, screw it, I'm going to try a coup. I'm going to do these fake electors scheme. I'm going to try to rob America of its democracy just so I can stay in power. Screw that guy. And if any of you are voting for that guy who's totally un-American, who betrayed this country, you're nuts, and he won't ever leave office. He's a wannabe dictator. He always praises dictators, whether it's Xi in China, whether it's Kim Jong-un in North Korea, Putin. He's always saying, they get all the applause when they walk in. No one is allowed to disagree with them. And then freedom, my ass. He hates freedom. He wants to.
Are you sure about that? Look, again, we've had sitting presidents praise other dictators too. Hell, we've had presidents make dictators. Now, all this talk about Trump being the overall bad guy, he might be a bad guy, but he is not the bad guy, okay? And this isn't a defense of Trump. It's just, my God, you could tell Trump lives rent-free in Cenk's head.
take away everyone's freedom so that all the power goes to him. Okay. So no, Pat, look, you can.
I'm not laughing at you. It's entertaining what you're saying. And
it's
I
100% true.
I can see. Okay. So let me ask you a different question. Who do you trust more, him or Biden?
I don't trust either one of them. It's not about trust.
Fair. Okay. So
Now ask him this: who are you going to vote for? The answer may or may not surprise you.
So who do you see more? If your choices are the two guys right now, are you going to sit this one out?
Oh, no way. I'm going to vote Biden. Because I want another election. I don't.
Okay.
If you put Trump back in.
Hey, Reef Breland of INN. You wanted the clean one? Hang on. This one's for you, buddy. Hang on. Listen carefully, Reef.
And see. Okay. So let me ask you a different question. Who do you trust more, him or Biden?
I don't trust either one of them. It's not about trust.
Fair. Okay. So who do you see more? If your choices are the two guys right now, are you going to sit this one out?
Oh, no way. I'm going to vote Biden.
Of course. Cenk's going to go ahead and vote for Biden. Why? Because he's a vote blue no matter who Democrat. Jesus Christ.
Because I want another election. I don't.
Okay.
If you put Trump back in charge, there's at least a 50% chance we're never going to have another election.
So let me ask you this other question. To the people who, when Hillary lost, you've seen that clip when Hillary lost. It's one of the greatest. Bill Burr said it best when he was on Conan O'Brien. He says, look, man, forget about the Olympics, Russia, U.S., forget about, the home run, forget about this. He says, dude, this guy beat Hillary Clinton. It's like the people lost their minds, right? What did Hillary Clinton do for 4 years? You know what she did. She went around campaigning around what? They stole the election. And we.
What do you mean before, Pat? Before she was doing it with all that bullshit.
Yeah. But they didn't say that he physically stole the election. There's a giant difference. Saying, oh, boo-hoo, which she did, of like, oh, the Russians interfered in the election, which, by the way, they did, but not enough to make the difference.
Okay, again, Clinton ran a piss poor campaign. And the Mueller report, remember when Cenk used to do Mueller report and so much, and all these other reports that have come out, Russia didn't interfere. Okay. Now, look, thanks to the Supreme Court of the United States, anybody can buy a politician. Anybody. There's all this talk about Russia. Is anyone ever going to talk about the Israeli lobby group and its influence over our politics? Yeah, probably not. Nah, no one's going to talk about that. No one wants to talk about that.
Okay. But that's just crying after you lost. Whereas Donald Trump had a scheme of fake electors to do a goddamn coup.
So I got to follow up.
Hillary did not do that.
Did
I can't stand Hillary.
And she did actually concede. Wait, hold on.
She conceded.
Well, here's my question, Cenk. So let's say you are Trump. You legitimately win the election. Hold on.
Don't use the word legitimate.
Time out. You won in 2016. You find out all these years later with the Durham report and all that shit that not only did Hillary help set up lawyers, the dossier, everything. How can you blame somebody for not trusting the FBI or everything in 2000?
That's a good question.
I wouldn't trust anybody.
Okay.
Hey, by the way, folks, let's have democracy in the chat. Type 1 if you trust our institutions, corporate media, and politicians, because they would never lie to you. Type 2, no, I don't, and I'm not a Trump supporter. I don't trust these institutions. And let's have, again, don't worry. There's going to be another question, and this is going to be a question for everybody. And Trump supporters, I'm going to throw you in this one too. Don't worry. That question, that spicy meatball question, will be somewhere in the halfway point. You'll see it, and I'll see it too.
Okay, so look, when he asked for a recount, I said, hell yeah. When he asked for a hand recount, I said, hell yeah. Why? Progressives have been asking to verify elections for decades now, right? But when some Bernie supporters back in 2016 said, oh, no, Hillary stole the election from Bernie in the primaries, I said, look, when you're talking about how they set up the debates, how they funneled money from the donors to the state Democratic parties, that's true, okay? But if you're talking about evidence of rigged elections, you have to come with frickin' evidence. And our side didn't. So I said, no, I don't care how.
Wait for it. What is he talking about, our side? Progressives. Remember 2016 in the Democratic primary? Wait for this one, my lovelies. My mornings, my sunshines. This is how you know that TYT never meant a goddamn thing they ever said.
How angry you get at me. Hillary Clinton did not steal the votes in those elections in the primary in 2016.
What? I know. I was kind of shocked listening to that too, because I remember when Jordan Sheridan used to work for TYT and he was covering some clear election fraud that was taking place. I remember all the early days of Nico House on Mika Sukasa talking about that. I remember Convo Couch talking about it. Hell, Harlan's Media, we were talking about it. Jimmy Dore was talking about it. I'm going to rewind it again just so you guys and gals can hear it.
The state
Yeah.
Democratic parties, that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you're talking about evidence of rigged elections, you have to come with frickin' evidence. And our side didn't. So I said, no, I don't care how angry you get at me. Hillary Clinton did not steal the votes in those elections in the primary in 2016. So when you get to Trump, if he says, hey, I want to recount, great. But they did. They recounted 3 times. They did hand recounts. Then they went to court 60 times. And guys, this is definitive. He couldn't present one piece of evidence. He had 60 shots at it.
So before we continue on, let's have democracy in the chat. And this goes for everybody. Hell, even vote blue no matter who. You want to chime in on this one? Fine. Libertarians, go ahead. Greens, go ahead. Trump supporters, go ahead. My fellow progressives, come on in. You all remember the 2016 primary between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton? I saw in the live stream chat where Natalie Williams just brought up, didn't a lot of people's votes during the New York primary disappear when people kicked off the register? So let's talk about the Democratic primary. Type 1 if you think Hillary Clinton and the Democrats ran a clean campaign and she won legitimately. Type 1 if that's what you think. Type 2 if, my God, kid, they're rewriting history. We all remember the Democratic primary. The election was rigged in favor for Hillary Clinton. The Democratic establishment was working with the Clinton campaign to deny Bernie Sanders the nomination. There's clear evidence out there. There's a treasure trove of evidence. I could write all day about it. My God, Cenk has conveniently forgotten the 2016 primary. But I'll let you guys and gals decide. I will let you decide. Was the 2016 primary clean and fair? Type 1 for yes. A type 2 for no. It wasn't.
You know why he couldn't present one piece of evidence? Because there is no evidence. There is no evidence, and he knows it. He made it up from day one. He's a giant liar. He's always been a pathological liar, and he came.
As are you, Cenk. Come on, buddy. Come on. You see, I paused him at the perfect time for him to look right at me on the screen.
And he's like, oh, I don't like losing. I don't like losing. I don't like it. Boo-hoo. Oh, I think they stole it. They made up 7 million votes. Hugo Chavez, they blamed the Kraken, all these insane donkeys or mules or whatever the hell. Get it out of here. Hey, all of MAGA, show me one piece of evidence in court, not BS. Oh, I said it on TV. Doesn't that count? No, all you ever do is lie on TV. All the politicians lie on TV. Go to court, show the evidence. Until then, shut up and stop trying to steal elections and stop hating America. America's about elections. It's about democracy.
He said, hold on. America's about democracy and elections. Now, in theory, yes. In theory, yes. In theory, tying your shoes is a good thing. In theory, don't eat before you go swimming. Yeah, fine, great, whatever. In theory, it's always good to look both ways. In practice, let me tell you guys this. Okay, we don't have election integrity in this country. Okay. In Chicago, when there's city elections or state elections, sometimes votes disappear. I brought up this story before, but again, during the 2018 Democratic primary, for the midterm, for the midterms, all right, during the primaries for that, I remember my colleague Daniel and I, we were watching TYT at the time, and Jimmy Dore was still on, TYT, and they were covering the Illinois Democratic primary. And Marie. Geez, now I'm forgetting her name now. Oh, man. Marie Newman. There we go. I'm getting senile. Marie Newman was facing off against the current incumbent, and she was in the lead. And then sometime around, as the election was starting to wrap up, as the night was starting to wrap up, somehow a couple of her thousands of votes just disappeared. And Cenk looked at the screen and was like, what's happened? Where'd they go? And Jimmy just nonchalantly just looked at, oh, that's just Illinois politics. Votes disappear all the time. That happens all the time. That happens all the time here in Chicago, in Illinois. And it happens in other states too. Just throwing it out there.
So by the way, I will say this to you if you could. I will say this to you. So you're right. When it comes down to if you think the other person is guilty, show the proof and go through it. That's the whole thing with innocent until proven guilty. Totally get it. But bro, mainstream media ran for 3.5 years that Trump, Russia, all that stuff. I'm not saying you. I'm saying mainstream media ran against them 3.5 years every day. This guy thought Russia got him elected. I mean, people that we know, smart guys.
But brother, mainstream media hates progressives. They've destroyed our movement.
I'm not.
Am I saying, we won the election?
But I said to you, I said not you. I said not you. I said mainstream media.
But my point is, Pat, you got to play the playing field. That's true for me. That's true for Trump.
Sure.
Right?
No, sometimes you don't have to play the playing field. All right. Sometimes you can give it the middle finger, Cenk.
So yes, mainstream media hates him. Yes, they did propaganda against him for 3.5 years. But that's the playing field, right?
Totally get it. No, it's totally fine. They have the edge. Listen, Republicans, if they want to have that, go buy some media companies and compete directly.
Yeah.
Musk is buying Twitter. Great. Go at it. Play your game if you're going to do what you're going to do.
Murdoch influences elections more than anyone else.
Murdoch is right now more at a whole different place. He's not a Team Trump guy. You know that, bro. He's not. But where I was going to this is the following. Okay. So the part for me that got confusing was the following. Okay. Do you remember during COVID, I had a lady named Judy Mikovits on who used to work with Fauci in 1980s with the AIDS thing. Oh, my God. It was like, boom, 2 million views taken down. Short clip, strike. What? Okay, let's interview this other guy. Boom, strike. Okay, all right. Boom, strike. They took like 40 of our videos down during COVID. And we kept doing the interviews, and we were not like, well, this is 5G. Remember the whole 5G thing? Like, that fizzled out very quickly. Everybody thought it was a 5G. But there was a community that was like, well, this is what's going on. Here's what they're doing. This is what they're doing. Okay, cool. We're like, all right, let's kind of take a look at to see what's going on. Election claims. Yeah, this is what they did, the drop and blah, 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 blah. Okay. Yeah, election fraud has been going on for a long time. Okay, this ain't anything new. It was something known for Democrats that would do a lot with John F. Kennedy, Dewey, all this stuff, and it's been going on for many, many years. Great. Okay, they're doing that. But if you put up any clips disputing it, guess what? You were getting strikes, and they were taking those videos down.
Now, Cenk knows nothing about getting strikes because TYT is grandfathered in. They got themselves a huge shield wall protecting them. They will never know what it's like to get a strike or a warning or anything of that nature. So Cenk, listening to this is a foreign concept to him. He has no idea.
2-3 months ago, YouTube comes out and saying, moving forward, we're no longer taking those videos down. They can stay up. Okay. Why would YouTube do that? Why would YouTube not allow it for 2.5 years and all of a sudden YouTube, can you pull up that clip when YouTube changed their guidelines on election?
Yes, YouTube and its guidelines. Like I said, I got to teach a class on how to protect other channels. I helped out RBN and Do Dissidents because they got wrongly given a strike. So if you're not following RBN or Do Dissidents, please do so because again, when these and even INN got some unfair strikes. So like I said, folks, be careful. Be careful out there because the censorship is all too real.
Claim or whatever. Like, no, moving forward, we're not going to take it down and we're changing our guidelines for it. So I'm not saying one or the other, but did YouTube behind closed doors, are they worried about a Twitter files coming out? Are they worried about, YouTube changes policy to allow false claims about past U.S. presidential elections. YouTube will stop removing content that falsely claims the 2020 election or other past U.S. presidential elections were marred by widespread fraud, errors, or glitches. The platform announced Friday. This is what, AP News? less than 2 months ago. It's exactly 2 months ago, it was when they put it up. Why would they do that?
I have a good theory.
I'm curious. I want to hear your theory why they would do
Yeah,
that.
because now every Republican believes it.
No. I'll tell you why. Here's my theory. And you know what? You guys can agree with me or disagree with me. And it is brought up in the second video that I will play up. But we all know about the Twitter files and we all know about the Facebook files. Let me just say this without the screenshot of Fat Tony there. The YouTube files. That's right. Like I said, folks, there's a lot of insidious actions being done by those in positions of power. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there are no YouTube files. Maybe I'm reaching here. But if it happened on Twitter, and if it happened on Facebook, maybe kind of, sort of, it might have happened on the YouTubes.
Like 8 out of 10 Republicans believe it. So what are they going to do? Ban every Republican? So I think they got to a point where they're like, we give up. Every right winger believes this nonsense that's totally made up. So we can't ban all the right wingers. So we just got to let them say it.
It's all right wing. It's all right wing. But hang on. Now listen to this. Cenk is also afraid of why Twitter or X. Hold on here. I just got to say this, okay? Look, Elon, I know you want to really push X, but man, here's how you could have kept the bird and the X. You could have called it Phoenix. Right? You could have had the X and the bird, the Twitter being reborn like the Phoenix. And instead of calling it an X or a tweet, you could have called it the flame or the fire. Put me in the game, coach, for marketing. I'm ready, coach. Believe in me, coach. I could do it. Believe in me. Believe in me, coach. Believe in me. Anyways. Let's play this video.
Their business.
So we got two theories so far. Your theory is 8 out of 10 Republicans believe the election was fraud. So that's like, hey, let's not lose a Republican. Republicans buy shoes as well. That's kind of like your angle, what you're taking. You're saying Rumble's giving them competition. Maybe that's it. Maybe let's add Twitter in it because Twitter's eventually going to be doing videos. So I think actually Twitter's a bigger fear to YouTube than Rumble is.
Probably.
No matter how much they trash Twitter, I think Twitter's going to eventually figure that. I don't think Elon's a guy that gives up easily.
It's called X now. Let's have a little respect.
I don't know how to say I'm going to X. Go read my X. I just exceeded something. It's kind of weird, right? So, but
like I said, I think my idea is better. Put me in the game, coach. Coach, you got to believe in me. Put me in the game. I'm ready. Phoenix. It just would have worked. It would have been awesome. Even Trump would have said, like, I got to return to Phoenix now because of Kit's idea. It's incredible. It's huge. My head's still spinning of how much of a winning idea it is.
We'll adjust to it. Yeah, we'll adjust to it. But to me, that was kind of weird when they did that. And my other theory was maybe, the whole, like I said earlier, Twitter files information came out. How many people on the Fauci side were, embarrassed on what's going on? Even Rand Paul came out here and announces official criminal referral Fauci COVID is a lie. Page 11. I'll read this story here, Rob, if you want to pull it up. Senator Rand Paul made an official criminal referral to the Department of Justice accusing Dr. Anthony Fauci of perjury during this testimony about COVID-19 and funding gain-of-function research in China's Wuhan lab. Paul called for an investigation into Fauci's knowledge of dangerous virus research. Fauci faced criticism after release emails revealed he knew about gain-of-function research in Wuhan lab, despite denying it during previous testimony. The Government Accountability Office confirmed Wuhan Institute of Virology and Wuhan University received NIH funding for coronavirus research. The debate over COVID-19 origin continues, with some officials suspecting a lab leak theory due to the Wuhan lab's location and research history, while others support a natural spillover event from animals. So are they afraid that maybe a YouTube files is going to come out and they're going to show behind closed doors communication with Fauci about not allowing those types of videos to be?
Yes. Okay. Here's the thing. Hey, PBD, put me on your show. I'll tell you about what happened to Hard Lens Media. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, not 5 times, not 6 times, not 7 times, but 8 times. Hardlens Media has been hit hard by the YouTube censorship. Some of it had to deal with the pandemic. Some of it had to deal with the event known as January 6th. And other it was just complete BS. The YouTube censorship is all too real. I mean, but this goes back even years before Donald Trump got into office. You've got people who were triggered by PewDiePie. You got you got journalists from outlets that were once esteemed BuzzFeed and Vice, hating on YouTube content creators because rightfully so, they were far more popular than some of those quote unquote talent hack fraud people at those outlets. And not to mention the way corporate media bullied its way onto the algorithm, the way the politicians of both parties, Democrat and Republican, want to censor free thought and free speech. So the answer is yes. Yes. There just might be a YouTube files. So BBD podcast, yeah, hit it on the mark. The answer is yes.
Be shown? I don't know. Are Twitter, YouTube files going to come out emails saying, hey, you can't let them show these clips about, what they're doing with the election and what happened to it, and those videos with this mules and all this stuff. You can't let those guys got to be taken down. This is creating too much momentum. Maybe. Could it be that they were afraid for maybe additional stuff to come out with communication with Biden? I don't know. Like, I remember when they changed. One of my favorite things about YouTube, I don't know if you like this or not, I loved it, when you could give a thumbs up or thumbs down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I miss those days. But what did YouTube do? They decided to become a little snowflake and say, "Oh, we don't want anyone to get upset by seeing the thumbs down." Why? Everything's all happy? It's like that episode of The Simpsons where Bart was had that mind controlling powers, parody or homage to the Twilight Zone episode, that kid who went crazy with his power, and old man Jasper says, "Oh, I'm sick of being happy," and he gets turned into a dog. Yeah, what? You just want to show the thumbs up all the time? Get the hell out of here.
I love the thumbs down thing, because I'm
too.
like, we would do a video. I'm like, damn, I thought this was a good video. They hated this video. The ratios was so bad with thumbs down to thumbs up. Biden's videos, I don't know if you remember this, okay? Dude, when he was campaigning, it was like 28,000 likes, 600,000 dislikes.
Yeah, yeah.
Every video's like
it was bad
to dislike ratio.
But also what they're also missing here, it's not just politics too, but it's also for the fact of during the height of Kathleen Kennedy's power over Disney. I know, off subject, bear with me. There's a reason why. When many people were starting to criticize the direction the Marvel movies, Disney movies, comic book movies, the quote unquote putting woke identity politics in a lot of entertainment, they were getting ratioed heavily. And so, Disney, being a superpower at the time, muscled its way into. It wasn't just politicians. It was also the media and entertainment, which is why I will explain for another time why I want Hollywood to burn to the ground. And I'm enjoying the strikes and the fights between the corporations and the strikers. But that's just me. I'm petty. I want to see Hollywood burn. It's not just for petty reasons. Petty reasons, that's all.
Was astronomical. It got so bad, and out of nowhere during election, they said, due to mental and anxiety for kids, we're going to get rid of thumbs down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
feelings over logic.
Yeah. So some of this stuff maybe for me, where YouTube is sitting there saying Twitter's becoming real competition. The last thing we want is the government to start investigating some of our emails and what we did, and what if this stuff leaks?
Yeah,
that could be a theory.
And
again, obviously it's quite clear that Cenk has Trump still living rent-free in his head, dismissing what happened during the 2016 Democratic primary, and of course calling Trump the end-all be-all dictator of our times. Let's be clear here. Trump is a flawed human being, right? But he's not the overall villain of the story. I've said this before on the show, and I'll say it in this segment here too. It's easy to spot the cartoon villain twirling his mustache. It's easy to see Donald Trump as the bad guy. But the thing is, sometimes the greatest of evils hide in the light. And they come in many shapes and forms. Not just some evil, hooded, bald-skinned white guy. Sometimes evil comes in all shapes and sizes, my friends. And it's easy. It's easy to call Trump the great dictator of our times, but you see, he ain't. He didn't build the system. He didn't do it. Now, he participated and he lived off of it, but he did not build it. And of course, as president, he did contribute to it. But I mean, his contribution as a politician is like a drop in the bucket. Him as a donor, well, then that could be debated. But again, who created the system in which Donald Trump will give these people money and they do what they say? It was the politicians who did that, who wrote the laws. It's quite clear that Cenk has the 2016 trauma still with him, which is why I have to say to folks, I understand sometimes things don't go your way, but please grow up. Because let's say Trump gets elected. I see him stepping down. Hey, he served 4 years, and then he serves another 4 years. That's it. It's done. It's over. And there'll be somebody else to complain about, somebody else to cry about, somebody else to scream about. But this whole idea of a democracy in America, that we're a republic, since when? No, serious, legit question. Since when? I mean, money is speech and corporations are people. Since when? Because we don't have one. We live in an oligarchy. And that's the real uncomfortable truth.